the downfall of the MCU is truly something that needs to be studied because I was a massive fan of the MCU. Starting with Iron Man, of course, one of my favorite movies, and then I remember even being first in line for the first Avengers movies back in high school. To then after Endgame, and in my opinion, I didn't even think Endgame was all that, but it's just been ass everything since Infinity War, in my opinion, and this entire multiverse thing has been so overused that to see another movie yet again using the multiverse is kind of it's just kind of sickening, really, more than anything. The best movie in this entire latest phase of the MCU was literally Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Like, I don't think anything else comes even close, because if you take away if No Way Home, because I know a lot of people are going to go like, well, what about No Way Home? No Way Home, if you take the other the other two Spider-Mans out, it's a shit movie. Like, I hate to break it to you, but that's the truth. Regardless of that, we're here to talk about Deadpool, a beloved character that pretty much just became mainstream overnight because not a lot of people knew about Deadpool at all, right? I was a big fan of Deadpool. I had that video game, that standalone video game they had back on Xbox 360. I was a massive fan of that. And to see it on the big screen, I was very excited. I must say, my favorite Deadpool is definitely number 2. I know that's a hot take because a lot of people say number 1, but for me, number 2 it's better. I come back to that movie way more often than I do to number 1. Not saying that number 1 is bad by no means. Now, where does this one stand? I think happily in the middle, or maybe just tied for second with number 1, because this movie it just doesn't make sense narratively. It's at its weakest point. It just tries to do way too much, and using the multiverse like every other MCU movie lately, just for wow factors, just to get you go, holy shit, they didn't. Obviously there's scenes that make you go like that, scenes that are actually pretty damn hype, some cameos that you go like, you know what, I do want to see that again. Obviously I can't tell you about those cameos, but they were good for the most part. But it's just too much. Sometimes less is more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just too much, too repetitive, and the whole movie just revolved around cameos at a point. Like, yes, the main focus was Deadpool and Wolverine, but to build that, they tried to put so much into that. So many characters, so many cameos, so many just unhinged scenery, I guess you could say. I don't know, but I don't think the movie is bad by no means, but it's just, to me, it's kind of, the more I think about it, the less I like it. You know what I'm saying? The more I think about it, yes, the first viewing was like, oh my god, bro, this is finally a good MCU movie. But the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, it really wasn't all that. It was good, but it wasn't all that. Like, I feel like like I said, the weakest point is the narrative. The fight scenes in this movie are very hyped. They're very cool. There's one particular fight scene that made me go, that looks rough, because I don't know, I might have to see it again. I might have to see the movie again to really process what I saw in that fight, because what I saw was very rough and very questionable at times. But it was still amazing. It's just for me, it's just a nitpick, really. For me, it looked kind of off, but overall, all the fight scenes are really good, especially when they get together, you know what I'm saying, and against each other. It's just overall good. And if you don't know, the fourth wall breaks in the movie are also really good. It's just consistently shitting on the MCU and Fox and just everything, pretty much. That's one of the things that I like about Deadpool, is very meta with everything. It's just doesn't give a fuck, and that's what I like about the character itself. I mean, in the comics, he even killed the writers. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But I thought that a lot of things they say in that fourth wall breaks might just turn on the light bulbs on all of these dog shit Disney writers at Marvel HQ, because this is how you make a decent movie. At least just this is the good step. This is a good step for the next phase of the Marvel MCU franchise, whatever you want to call it. But one thing, and it was established in this movie itself, even though it did use it, Deadpool literally says in the movie, multiverse movies suck. We should stop doing them. We should just take the L and move on. Yes, that's what you should do. Because it hasn't worked. It worked once and it was for wow factor, and then everything else has been just dog shit. You know what I'm saying? And in this movie, it's not like it doesn't work because obviously the main focus of using the multiverse was not touching Logan's timeline. But even then, it's like they used it and then they kept using it and using it and using it and using it, and showing you the cameos and cameos and cameos, and just like it's too much. They clearly don't know what to do with the multiverse thing, so they should clearly just step away from it, leave it alone, let people forget that you ever used the multiverse, and then probably when you have a decent idea of what to do with the multiverse, come back to it when you have a tangible thing to do. Overall, I think this movie is a good time, and I feel like Deadpool is one of those heroes that even if you don't follow the MCU or anything like that, or you don't really like superhero films at all, you would still have a good time because the character is just very enjoyable to watch, irritating at times, but enjoyable to watch. It's pretty funny. The comedy is really good. Like it doesn't always stick the landing. Sometimes it's a little bit cringe and a little bit too over the top, at least in my opinion. But overall, it's very enjoyable and just a very serviceable film. Not the greatest in the Deadpool trilogy, but I wouldn't say it's the worst. I'd just say it's right there. Right? Maybe if I give it more time, right? Maybe if I see it again and give it a little bit more thought process, I'd put it even lower. But right now, it's just tied for second. So giving this movie a rating, I'll give it like an 8.5, an 8. I'll give it an 8, a comfortable 8. Yeah, I'll give it a comfortable 8. I had myself a good time. It was just good, but like narratively, it just didn't work. Narratively, like there's too much. It's just too much. Too much. A lot of cliche stuff and things that if you like, I don't know. I can't really talk about the things that I want to talk about, but it's just things that I really didn't like. But there's a lot of awesome moments in the film, which pretty much just own up to all the other things that it's lacking, which is narratively. So they just traded wow factors for narrative, which nowadays with the state of everyone's mindset with TikTok and all of this shit, I guess it works. So, hey, it is what it is.